we have the roll call. We're missing one person, and that would be Angela. Everyone else is in attendance. Approval of minutes. Has everybody had the opportunity to read the minutes?
Yes,
Any discussion?
I didn't see anything.
Okay, someone like to make a motion to.
Am I allowed to do that since I took the minutes?
Through the minutes.
Okay,
Sure, you're
I'll
a
make the
member of the,
motion. Sure.
okay, any discussion?
No.
No, so moved. All right, the minutes are gone. Citizens petitions and comments.
I haven't
No.
received anything.
Okay, moving right along. Town council referrals.
None.
Okay, correspondence and communications to
I
the
have-
commissioners.
I have a couple from people. One, people want to know what's happening with the summer session as far as the community center. Are masks going to be used? Are activities indoors? I guess it'll say for the programs if they're indoors or outdoors, but for the indoor activities, are masks required at this point? And what are the protocols now that we're emerging from COVID restrictions in a way?
Yeah, so right now we're following the guidance from the CDC and the health department, and that is if you haven't been vaccinated, you should be wearing a mask. If you have been vaccinated, you no longer need to wear a mask. The exception to that is over at the senior center. Just because that's a more vulnerable population, they're asking that everybody wear masks until July 1st, when the senior center will fully reopen.
What about activities with children? Because a lot of the kids, I think 12 is the youngest they've gone so far with vaccinations.
Right.
Yes, so the kids in
Any
camp
discussion?
will need to wear masks. That's part of
Okay,
the,
let's move along.
oops. Yeah, so kids in camps will have to wear masks indoors. They do not have to wear masks outdoors. And I think in the community center, they're still required to wear masks.
Are the
Kids are.
kids
Yes.
are the people
Yeah.
working with them?
Oh, instructors? I'm not sure, Fran. I'll check on that.
We played pickleball on Friday wearing masks. But this Monday, according to what we've read, we would, if you were fully vaccinated with the 14 days, you can go in without a mask.
And that's at the community center, right, Dom?
That's at the community center, not the senior center, correct?
But everyone at the senior center is still supposed to wear a mask, yes?
Yeah.
Okay, Mark, you're up.
Okay.
Oh, Fran, did you have another one? I thought you said you had a couple of questions.
I guess most of them surrounded that with the kids' activities and the camps, how that was working. So it's just, Mark's gonna look into it, I guess, as far as what the protocols are for that, for adults and for kids. So, thank you.
I also had a contact from Mike Street on Flanders Road asking about the outcome of the property at 0 Flanders Road. And I referred him to the town manager after Mark clarified that, as to the best of his knowledge, it's still commercial property. I just thought I'd let the commission know that we had follow up on that.
Thank you, Elizabeth.
All right, so director's report, in addition to the information that was sent out last week, I just wanted to mention a couple of other things. We are hosting our Summer Sound Waves series beginning next Thursday night, but we're also hosting another summer concert series on Tuesday nights, and that is the series that would play in the park adjacent to the Mystic River over on the Stonington side of the bridge. So that board had not made a decision whether they were going to have concerts. I think their board meeting actually might have been tonight, but the group that kind of organizes all of the different bands didn't feel that they could wait until just a few days before to know where the concerts were going to be held and advertise them the way they should be. So they reached out to us and asked us if we could host them at Esker Point Beach for the summer. And so we are. And that starts this Tuesday night. A lot of these groups are, it's different type music. The No Ink Mystic Community Band kind of organizes all this. One night we're going to have the, oh goodness, now I can't think of the group. That will come to me in a minute. But it's more orchestra type groups versus, the kind of sugar and those types of groups that we typically have down there. So, and I think the series lasts 6 or 7 weeks, so should be good.
Yeah.
On top of that, we got a little delayed with the work at the disc golf course. We, about 5 weeks ago, had a group of volunteers from the sub base lined up. Just before they were scheduled to come over, the base commander issued an order that there would be no volunteer projects outside of the base. That was lifted about 2 weeks ago, and we had our first group come and help us last Friday. We got 6 of the poles in that hold the baskets. We've got a group of volunteers that are coming this Sunday to put the baskets on the poles, and then the sub base group is coming back next Friday, so the 18th, to do some more work. And I'm hopeful that by the end of that next Friday, we'll have 6 of the T-pads and 6 of the baskets all set up and running. And then we're going to continue to work from there to knock out the other 12.
Great.
Yeah. And finally, this coming Saturday, we are resuming our road races. We're doing the Tour de Noank, and registration for that has been very strong. And we're expecting a good crowd. The weather is supposed to break from this heat, so I think we're going to have a good crowd participating in the race. So we're excited to kind of get back to the way things used to be.
Yeah.
Dom did have a couple of questions for me. I think we had mentioned in an earlier, well, actually, I know we did. We talked earlier in a previous meeting about the Pequot Woods and the commission's support of the adjacent properties becoming part under the management of the Pequot Woods Board of Trustees. Dom asked for an update. We are still waiting for the attorney to review all of the deeds from the adjoining properties to make sure that there's no conflict with what we're going to propose to do and the language in those deeds. Once he's finished with that, then we'll be able to move forward with going to the council to make the recommendation that the Pequot Woods Advisory Board takes over the management of those adjoining parcels. Dom also asked about Esker Beach access for those with disabilities. We do put a Moby mat out. The Moby mat runs from the handicap parking spots all the way down into the water. The Moby mat allows somebody with a walker on a wheelchair to get across the sand. It's a firm surface, and we've had one out for a number of years. And that is, it's called a Moby mat, M-O-B-I.
Where is it?
Oh, Esker Point Beach. Yeah. He also asked about capital improvement funds to renovate the community center. So in this FYE 22 budget, which kicks in July 1st, we had, the Public Works had asked for money, the balance of the money to pay for the costs associated with fixing up the office space, the old principal's offices, so that the Parks and Recreation staff that are at Spicer House could move into that building. Unfortunately, the council did not approve that additional money, so that project is on hold for right now. But I do have some news. There are plans to move voter registration out of Town Hall and into the community center up in A wing. And by the changes that they need to, the accommodations that they need to make to move voter registration into A wing is going to allow us, Parks and Recreation, to get into the old media center, which is a fairly large open space. It's right behind the stage. So we are going to be taking out the shelving, ripping up the carpeting, finishing the wood floor, and that will allow us to increase the size of some of our exercise programs, because right now our exercise classes are taking place pretty much in the old dance room, which has limited space. And in the old media center, it's larger than the dance room. So we'll be able to get more programs and larger programs in there.
Okay.
Well, Mark,
Yes.
in that renovation of that room, are they gonna take out the office, or are you gonna keep that office in there? When you enter the room, there's an office space for that library. Is that being removed to create
No.
a bigger space?
Yeah, right now, we're just focusing on the main part of the room. We're not knocking down walls. I think there's actually like 3 rooms that kind of
Okay.
run
Okay,
right in sequence. And for right now, we're only focusing on that. Eventually, it would be great if we could do that. We're looking to utilize those rooms for storage right now for exercise equipment. Like if you've got all those big exercise balls and things like that, that will be a place that we can put those so that we're not losing floor space for exercising.
great, thank you.
And then the last question that Dom had was the bids for the pickleball courts at the community center, and those are due on June 11th. So those are due Friday.
Great.
And then he also asked about wall matting. The vendor that we got the original bid from is on the state bid list. From the time that they gave us the quote to, we reached out to him a couple weeks ago, let him know we were interested. The price has gone up $3,000. So I think we're just gonna have to eat some of that out of operating to pay for the cost of putting up the padding in the walls.
And that's taking down the old mat. as
That's
well, right?
taking down the old mats, which actually we're going to, the bid that they submitted included them taking down the old matting, and we're gonna have park staff do that so that we can bring that price down a little bit.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, so those were the updates that you had asked for.
Great.
Mark, I had one question.
Yes.
In your report, you talked about project at Pleasant Valley School. Is that a residential project that is requiring open space?
Yeah, so the Pleasant Valley School, that property is being sold and being developed. And we had a meeting with the developer to talk about trying to maintain some trail connectivity. There are some trails that exist on that property now.
Mhm.
And we were meeting with him to discuss continuing to have the public have access to those trails. And he was open to that idea, and I think that's going to take place.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions or concerns? We'll move on to the golf course.
Golf course continues to be strong. We did see a bit of a decline in revenue. I think this is the first month in probably, well, in quite a while that our revenue this year did not match prior year revenue. And I think that is because last May, all golf courses in Massachusetts were closed. Golf courses in Rhode Island, you could only play if you lived in Rhode Island. And so we were doing a booming business with people driving down from Massachusetts to play golf. So now that those courses have opened up, again, we're not seeing quite the volume, but we continue to have, are continuing to have a great year. I had a meeting with the golf course staff today, and we are at 313 season pass holders, which I think already exceeds last year. And there was a fairly good sized group of seasons pass holders that their passes expired this month, so they've been coming in to renew their membership. And so that will continue through the end of the month. So in August, I'll be able to tell you what the final count was for this past fiscal year. So like I said, we've had a great year, thanks to what's taken place around the world. Hard to believe that there's a positive in that, but golfing has been one of the positives.
So I have a question for you
Yes.
and the golf course. I
Yeah.
was curious about the sand that has been dredged from Mumford Cove, which the rec department and the town has access to.
Yes.
Is the golf course using any of that sand? And if not, why?
Yeah, they're not using that sand because that sand is not of the same quality that you see in golf course bunkers. That sand from Mumford Cove is going to have to be screened. And
Right.
we're using that we intend to use that for the beach and not for the golf course.
That's odd, isn't it? It's good enough. It's not good enough for a golf course, but it's good enough for people to sit and lay in, right? That's weird.
Well, that sand was set aside for the beach, and I don't
Got
want to start sending it out for, different other projects.
Yeah, I just thought you could save some money. That's all I thought. So,
Yeah, yep.
but thank you.
Mark, I noticed that the senior limited and the youth limited passes are up significantly this year.
They are, yes.
So that's
Yep.
good.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great to, I mean, especially the youth,
Yeah.
that's the future of golf. And, hopefully that will continue. And I know the men's club and the women's club are going to be working with the golf pro to try to invigorate the junior program and get that to grow. They're going to be coming up with ideas and a plan over the next few months, and hopefully we'll be able to initiate that, in time for next year's golfing season.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
Any questions, concerns about the golf course? Trails Coordinating Task Force.
So no, we meet quarterly and there's a meeting next Thursday. So no updates.
Okay. Athletic fields.
Right now, they are working on a RFP to go out to bid to begin the next phase of the project, and that's coming up with site plans and doing surveys and doing that next step of work that it's going to take in order to and figure out budgets in order to come up with a hard and fast plan that we can take to the council and to the community. And I'm not sure that by the time we go out to bid, hire a consultant, and the work begins, it likely would not be this next budget cycle. It would probably be the following one. So it would be, because it's going to take quite a while to go through all of that and come up with all that information. And I don't think it will be ready by this fall in order to be part of the budget discussion for next fiscal year.
Is the school department moving ahead with work on what's needed in the school fields, or is it all rolled into this whole task force?
I'm not sure what the school is doing.
I was thinking about the condition of the Fitch High School field. That was pretty miserable.
Right. Oops. Yeah, I don't know what was approved in their budget. I know they did have some money for fields. I don't know if they're going to kind of hold that off, given the work that is being proposed in fields around the high school and also in other places in town. I'm not sure, Elizabeth.
Yeah, I was just wondering what kind of coordination was there.
Hello.
Yeah, we're
Can you guys hear me?
yes.
Okay, good. All right. Any questions or concerns about athletic fields? I think we covered that. Agency accreditation.
Yeah, we're still grinding away at that. The deadline gets closer and closer, and I get a little more nervous every day. At the end of the day, it's going to be a terrific initiative that we work through. It's hard to stay focused on it for such a long time. We've had a couple of setbacks, and people get tired of hearing me talk about it, and agency accreditation again. But we're getting close, and I'm still optimistic that by this fall we'll be submitting our application and moving forward.
How can we help?
How's your typing?
No, seriously, mine's pretty good.
Yeah, it's I think we're going to be okay. If it starts to look like the wheels are coming off, I may be doing we may be having a in-person session. Yeah, where we're sharing, I really are, from all the departments that have gone through this, they all say that having one person write the narrative, we've pulled together most of the evidence of compliance, and now it's writing the narratives to try to make sense and explain what the different pieces of the evidence of compliance are and how they fit into the standard. Writing those narratives, and I think I've said this before, it's been a lot more challenging than I thought it would be. I thought it would be pretty easy, but when I start looking at narratives that other accredited agencies have written, I'm like, oh boy, we really gotta work on our narratives. So, but we continue to focus on it, but it's hard when there's so many other things coming at you, and it's easy to get
Yes.
distracted, and before you know it, it's been 3 days and you haven't worked on it. And, yeah.
Well, good luck with that.
Thank you.
Any other questions and concerns regarding the accreditation? Seems like we covered it. The Pratt Recreation Building.
Yeah, I think I mentioned last time we were supposed to go to the council prior, I think, to the last commission meeting, and we're told that the council had some full agendas and that we would get rescheduled, and I have not heard anything yet. So I should reach back out to see if there's a timeline for that.
I've been struck by the number of yard signs I've seen opposing the Mystic Bluffs development. They're popping up everywhere.
They are, yeah. Before they were pretty much like on I think that's called Allen Street, coming off of 184 and headed towards
Right.
95. Those are all gone, but I've seen them, not all of them, but there's quite a few less, but they're popping up in other places. So I don't know if they're just getting moved around or what, but we're still hopeful that, the Pratt building will become a recreation building with a pool and a gym and some multi-purpose flex space to get us one step closer to being able to better serve the recreational needs of the community.
Well said, Mark.
Any questions or concerns? Unfinished business. Now, I think we have to approve minutes from another month. Am I correct? Or did you do it last time? Or
Tonight we approved the April minutes.
okay, good.
So
Okay,
yes, so
great.
that is complete.
That's complete. Terrific.
Yes.
All right. I thought that was May's minutes.
Yeah, no, those were April minutes.
Okay. Any new business?
I'm just gonna apologize. This has been a little crazy. I'm a teacher at the end of the year, and
Uh-oh.
I need to weed through it for typos before I feel comfortable submitting it, and I have not had a chance. Gonna be honest. I'll get it in.
Oh,
Thank you for what you're doing.
Fran, I submit it with typos all the time.
And I know
Elizabeth
every
knows.
time typos get past me and it bothers me, and then like
Oh.
The teacher in you, Fran.
I have to fix it.
Again, thank you for what you're doing. Any new business?
Yeah, so the new business was a succession plan. That is something that the commission needs to approve. Hopefully you've had a chance to look at it. I think I talked about
Okay.
this at the previous meeting. It really opened our eyes when we started talking about this, and some of the staff got nervous when we started asking, well, what are your plans? And what we've pulled together has helped us realize that in just a few years, there's going to be a major shift in the staff. And we need to start taking steps to put staff that are in positions now, maybe not positions of supervisory or management, but try to give them the resources so that when this shift occurs, they will be ready to take over. And so that's what this has done. So, as part of the plan, we've identified, anticipated retirements, looked at potential promotions, looked at tenure, how long folks have been here. And we kind of tried to prioritize what needs to be done sooner rather than later. And part of the packet includes kind of an analysis of, I mentioned preparing people for kind of management or supervisory positions. So part of this whole succession plan is kind of looking at competencies and identifying, okay, because everybody has their strengths and weaknesses, but we've tried to identify competencies that we feel are required of different positions, and looking at staff and saying, okay, you're really good at this, but here's finance or budgeting, that's not something that's part of your current job. And so in order for you to move up, you're going to have to be better at financing. And so part of the plan also includes, so we're doing an assessment, and then we're also doing a development plan. Like, okay, how are we going to get this person from point A to point B? So all of that, there's, sample employee development plans in the document. There's the employee competency assessment. And, so all of that is part of the whole succession plan. And we're still, what I submitted to you was not the entire document, because supervisors are still working on competency assessments and plans for some of the staff. But eventually that will all be part of this document.
Okay.
Is the development plan a new concept for the department?
Yeah, we never, I have to be honest, we really weren't, we were kind of just chugging along and weren't really looking far enough. It's clear we weren't looking far enough into the future that we should have been. But I think we've caught this at a time where we can still make the necessary corrections to have people in place when that shift comes.
Well, I think that happens when you have incumbents who have been in the roles and very competent in them for quite a period of time. You don't think about that.
Yeah, and that's what we've seen is a lot of the staff have been here for a lot of years, and they're all going to be leaving within the same couple of years.
Yeah.
And these are positions, these are supervisory positions that people are going to be leaving. And where we can, not every position are we going to be able to have somebody in place when they leave. There's some that we've just flat out not going to be able to, train somebody. I mean, there aren't a whole lot of levels to our department. There's just very few layers, but where those opportunities exist, we're already starting to initiate the development plan to get those staff in place and ready, so that when the shift happens, the transition will hopefully be, relatively smooth, or smoother.
Smoother, yeah.
Smoother, yes. Yep.
Did you want some specific feedback, Mark, or since this is a work in progress, hold off?
Well, I probably will not put all of the assessments in this document and make this public, because some of this is, we're evaluating staff, and I'm not sure that it would be fair to put some of this information out to the public. Oh, go ahead, Elizabeth.
Well, that fits with one of my questions where staff were mentioned by name, and I wanted to alert you that
Yeah.
from my perspective, the name should be eliminated
Right,
and
right,
just refer by position, not by individual.
right.
The other thing I noticed on the second page under full-time employee demographics, I was having trouble with the arithmetic in that first table 1. And I don't know whether, again, it's just a typo.
Well, let's see. 1, 3, and 1 is 5. That's under staff admin. 1, 1 is a total of 2. 1, 2 is a total of 3. 2 is a total of 4. 1, 1, 1, 3. Oh, that's only 6. Yeah.
And going across to, both at the 20 or more, yeah. Okay, you see the problem I was having.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I see. Oh, yeah. Probably that part of the table hadn't been updated, because a lot of people are working on this, and I think they're working on their particular columns.
Oh,
I'm
I
not
see.
adjusting the totals, yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I'll make sure we get that straightened out.
And it was page 4 where you had actual names that I thought you'd want to take them out. And
Yep.
page 5 too.
Yeah,
And then on page 8, we go down when you're looking under professionalism and ethics. If you look at item values, it mentions the city of Wichita,
oh, yeah,
which raised the question in my mind, is some of this material from the Wichita plan?
yes,
Okay, then I think at some point you're going to need to acknowledge that, because they may
Okay.
have some proprietary interest in their plan.
okay,
Then I was looking at the employee competency assessment on page 11.
yep,
All of these items seem to apply to staff within the senior center. So this tool would be amended for staff working in different settings,
yes, yeah, this was
Okay.
just an example
using the
of what was
senior.
done for the senior center, yes.
Okay,
But they
cool.
are, for each division, they're different, yes.
Okay, good, thanks. And I think those are the only things I saw to get feedback on.
Okay,
Anything else? Concerns, issues? Okay. Then
So-
I will, go ahead, Mark.
no, sorry, go ahead, Don.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, the succession plan doesn't need to be approved by the commission. And I don't know if you're comfortable making a motion that this is approved, given the recommendations.
What I would
Elizabeth?
say, come back with a clean
Okay,
document, and then
Okay.
We can review it. If, I don't know if
Sure.
the other commissioners agree with that, but that's my feeling on it.
okay,
I think it's too sensitive not to have some more eyes reading it.
Yeah, okay. We'll be back in
And-
August.
Okay,
And when it, yeah, and that's fine. And when it's cleaned up, you'll send another copy of it.
Yes, yes.
Great. Excellent. So it appears as though if there's no other concerns, issues, that our next meeting is on August 11th.
Yes, that is correct.
Great. Would anybody like to make a motion for adjournment?
be happy to move for adjournment this evening.
I'll second.
Terrific. It was good seeing all of you. And thank you, Mark, and thank you, Fran, again, for what you're doing.
Look
Well,
forward to
everybody
seeing
have a great
everybody in
summer.
person.
And yeah, I think we'll be seeing each other in person in August.
Sounds good.
All right.
Thank you
Good
all.
night.
Take care.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.